It's a great day when you're hanging around. Nothing's ever going to bring me down. Good times are coming our way. Whenever, wherever, whatever today.
Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station, and your place in making today better than yesterday. This week, this month, we've been discussing the concept of connection. Connection can be a vast subject, but we're focusing and exploring the connections to goals, thoughts, and the key ingredients to not only staying on the right track, but to also achieving your goals big and small. Last month, being the first month of the new year, we discussed on how most people create New Year's resolutions, but how important it is to create goals and to keep growing throughout your whole life. By no means am I against making resolutions, but I'm also for making the best out of here and now. Today, I'd like to dig a little deeper and talk about our connections to those said resolutions, goals, tasks, etc. There's an all-time saying when it comes to goal setting, and it's the idea of SMART, meaning specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-targeted. Although this is a great foundation to build goals from, there's one piece that many goal-setting advice leaves out, and that's the emotional factor, the connection. The fact of the matter is, and straight to the point, is that if you're not emotionally attached to your goal in some way, you most likely aren't going to accomplish it, or you'll be easily distracted and it will take way longer than it should. One of the most simple ways to test and see if you're emotionally invested or not is to ask yourself, why? We talk and explore the why concept a lot here at the Lone Doctrine, but for good reason. If your why isn't strong enough or you can't answer that question, it's a clear indication that you may need to reassess your direction, adjust, pivot, and weave. Another way of explaining the importance of connection is asking yourself, are your goals aligned with your core values? This is especially crucial if your goal will require you to change your behavior. Remember, sometimes change is good. When you step back and really connect to what you want in life, abundance will follow. Connection and alignment with purpose is key. Let me take a second and say something. How does this quote make you feel? I wish I had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I'll just give you a moment. Can you relate? Even if it's just a piece of your life or just a certain situation, I feel many of us are always reaching for expectations that may not be aligned with our personal values. Now, sometimes in life we may have to do things we don't want to or that are challenging, but we all hope that it will be aligned with our purpose and our value. You might be thinking, life isn't always ideal. Sure, I'd love to do whatever I wanted and to live the perfect dream. Sounds nice, doesn't it? But life doesn't always work out as planned, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily bad. We may have one idea of what we want, we pursue that goal, that dream, and then the unimaginable happens, something better than we could ever imagine. So the reason why I bring up the quote about living true to yourself is because your biggest connection is to yourself. You are the foundation. Think of yourself as an oak tree. You are the roots and the trunk, and the branches and the leaves and everything that you're connecting yourself to, like relationships, your passions, your thoughts, your movements, your day-to-day choices. You are at the heart of it all. So why waste this little time we have in this life desperately trying to live up to someone else's expectations or to even impress others? Don't get me wrong. Making someone proud, doing the right thing, carrying out a good deed may seem like you're adjusting your sails for someone else, but that's a very different aspect from what we're talking about today. Those are selfless acts. The other is allowing someone to take your peace, to not accept you, nor bring your greatest self to light. Alignment to your best self, to your values, is in part aligning yourself with like minds, with people who lift you up and not break you down, who share similar, if not the same, values. It doesn't mean you can only be friends with people who fit in this category, or you have to spring clean your list. It just means that when you come to a place where you're seeking betterment, change, and growth, it's to your benefit to what some people might call finding your tribe, finding your people, finding your homies. So, you might be wondering, how do we do this? Even if you have awesome people in your life, how can you align with more? First, be very clear with your intention and truly understand your personal values. It doesn't have to be fancy or go into great detail, but as you examine or even write down your values, you'll have a clearer picture and will start to attract like-minded people. It may be hard to find those like-minded people through values alone, meaning we don't really wear our values on our t-shirt, but what you can do is start to discover what resonates with you, the things that you like to do, whether it's reading, sports, going to movies, visiting new restaurants, gaming, whatever it may be. Find events and gatherings around those likings. For example, if you enjoy reading, join a book club. If you love dancing, sign up for a dance class. If you love eating, see what food events are in your area. When you align your passions or things you enjoy doing with an activity, the result is surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Here's a question I get asked a lot. What if I'm not a social person? I've actually had someone say, what if I don't like people? Then it's time to really take a look at the root of those feelings. It's not to say that you have to become a social butterfly, but connection is so important within our species. We are a social species, and you never know who that one person may be, or where that hello will lead, or how you can be of service to others, which makes everyone's world a better place. If you feel this way, it might be that you haven't found your preferred social setting or your kindred crew. We get so fixed on societal norms of having to do the typical thing like go to the trendiest bar or the best and fanciest party or the latest and greatest movie, but there's so much in life to experience. What if you ended up having the best time just going on a walk to nowhere, or just taking a sleeping bag and watching the stars? Or what my friends and I would sometimes do that we called fun sandwiches. We would all bring ingredients for sandwiches and eat and create our own sandwiches of anything and everything that was brought and just hang out. The point I'm trying to make is if you find yourself more pessimistic about connecting, maybe it's time to dig into what I like to call finding the root and start with liking yourself again, feeling good in your own skin, and clearing the negative clutter, and then you'll make way to attract what works for you. There's an idea by a great motivational pioneer called Jim Rohn who said, "We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with." This may sound harsh to some, but we are greatly influenced, whether we like it or not, by those closest to us. It affects our way of thinking, our self-esteem, our decisions. It's not to say that we aren't our own person, and sometimes we can learn from others on what not to do, but we are influenced by our environment and the people we surround ourselves with. So if you take a moment, think of the 5 closest people to you and really think about their influence on your life. Are they lifting you up? Are they making you better or worse? Are they willing to work with you or against you? Now, when asking these questions, it's not that we're seeking that perfect someone. No one is perfect, myself included. It's finding those people who can support you with honesty, to be constructive even when it's constructive criticism, someone who has your best interest in mind, someone who will be there in the good times and the bad. Those who you surround yourself with, the connections you spend the most time with, can easily either bring you up or bring you down. Let me quote a piece from personalexcellence.com. You may be the most conscious and smartest individual around, but if you are constantly surrounded by negative, fear-based people in your life, it will impact who you eventually become and your progression in life. If you are heavily grounded, there may be a limited downside that your negative friends can bring you. However, you also get a limited upside as you are spending time with people who hold you back rather than people who can be elevating you. This is something that was shared in a book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He had 2 dads. By consciously choosing to learn about money from his rich dad, he acquired many beliefs and a positive mindset on how to become rich, which eventually led him to become successful in life. If you hang out with a group of successful, positive individuals who believe in taking responsibility for their lives, you will become a proactive individual who shapes his or her future. If you hang out with a bunch of pessimists who believe that the world is out to get them and there is nothing worthwhile, you will start to descend into a pool of negativity at some point, even if you are initially a positive person. This is especially important in goal achievement because the consciousness you vibrate at affects your thoughts and actions. If you want to lose 20 pounds of weight, you need to think as your ideal end state, someone who makes good food and good lifestyle decisions. But if you constantly surround yourself with people who eat a lot, who make it harder to eat a healthy diet, at this point, your ability to stay on track in your health goal will boil down to how focused and resilient you are. Consider how much easier this task becomes if you are already hanging out with like-minded people who share a similar goal, or even people who have already achieved this goal. Of course, this does not mean that you should sever relationships or cut away anyone who doesn't contribute to your goals. It just means that you should monitor your contact with people who do not enable you to become your better person. Only in the event that a person is seriously dragging you down should you cut him or her away. Remember, if you entrench yourself in relationships that do not elevate you or bring you forward, you are not helping yourself, and neither are you helping the other person. That's because you are not being the best you can be, and subsequently, not being the best you can be to them. You may also be indirectly enabling them in their own negative behaviors. So this is just food for thought as we explore further in our topic of the month, which is connection. Although we've been discussing and keeping our mind on the right track towards our goals and our New Year's resolutions, side note, if you're just tuning in, I invite you to go back to the beginning of the month and start fresh. We pick a topic and start exploring, and sometimes when I relate to things, it's because we've discussed them in previous podcasts. So if you're like, what? Huh? Hit rewind and head back to the start of the month. Anyways, even when we're talking about our goals, the connection to our surroundings is so important. Remember, it's not about writing off all the people in your life who you feel aren't aligning with you and letting them know we're doing some spring cleaning. It's about knowing yourself better. The willingness to do the footwork to know that some people in your life, as much as you love them, may need to be in your life with moderation. It doesn't mean you love them any less, but you may need to step outside your current environment if it's not getting you to where you feel, where you're working to be, all the above, and surround yourself with those who will grow with you. And there's no better example to inspire others than action. I hope you found some good seeds in today's food for thought. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you could take a few seconds and leave us a review on iTunes, that would be awesome. You can find the review button through your iTunes on your desktop or in your app. Just look for the review and ratings tab, and then keep your eye out for the mouse and get ready to click write a review. We not only want to hear from you, but it helps us show up in the search engines for those in need. You make all the difference. Thank you so much for your support, and until next time, keep fighting the good fight.